Hello world, welcome back to my channel. Today obviously we're doing something very different because I'm laying on my bed. I was sick last week. I thought it was stomach flu, but somehow I was tired all the time and I can only function when lying in bed, which doesn't really happen to me a lot because usually I can be very productive and go to the gym 5 times a week, but well, since it is what it is, so we are doing a very short video today in my bed, which actually sounds pretty fun, right? And this whole week of being sick, it reminded me of a short story collection that I read years ago, I think. Yes. Do you ever feel nauseous? Something was coiling up in your stomach. You were tired, you want to sleep, but even if you fall asleep, it was all bad dreams, and you woke up in the middle of the night and there were cold sweats up in your back everywhere. You felt utterly lonely, and there was this physical pain, of course, as well. The whole experience felt like a bad dream you had when you were sick, because that's what this book made me feel like. It was not like we have talked about some traumatic books in the past in this channel. This book is different. This book is not I got hit by a car kind of pain. This book was my stomach really hurt, there's nothing I can do, or my head really hurt, there's nothing I can do, but I'm suffering from a quiet pain kind of book. So the book's name is The Ballad of the Sad Café by American author Carson McCullers. She was thought to be one of the best writers of her time. At the age of 23, 23 I think, she became famous for her debut novel, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. She had a turbulent adult life. She was married, but constantly falling for unavailable women. She was an alcoholic, and her husband committed suicide, partly due to their chaotic relationship. In a biography of Carson McCullers, writer Mary Dearborn described her attitude towards life during a therapy session. Apparently, McCullers was a weirdo who had enormous talents in writing but didn't know how to love, or how to settle down, or even how to grow up, because there's an article on the New Yorker saying she was a writer that refused to grow up all her life. All her life she lived in this girlyhood mindset, and of course it shaped her work, and eventually it also changed her life. She once told her therapist that she believed love is suffering and reciprocal love was impossible. And all of these pieces of information, her life story, it was all reflected in this book. This is the first McCullers I have ever read. I didn't even remember where I got the book. It's just there in my pile, and one day I picked it up. It contains 6 or 7 stories, I think. Some were based on the life of American southern towns. Some felt more like, I'm not going to say fairy tales, but it doesn't really felt like urban or suburban life. I think they were all great literature, fantastic stories. It was smooth, it was easy to read, and she created this atmosphere that it was really to step into. But I cannot say I love them, because they made me heartbroken and devastated, powerless, just like I'm feeling now, because I really want to train today, but that's not possible. So the book's name, the short story's name, came from the first story of this collection. Once upon a time, there was a cafe in a quiet town. The kind of towns that never changes and nothing really happens. The owner was a lonely woman called Miss Amelia. The story unfolds as 2 men came into her life. Well, actually, one was her ex-husband, so came back into her life. gave her the hope of not being lonely ever again, and destroyed not just her mind, but everything else that she owned in the most brutal, violent, and devastating way. In Chinese, we have a saying that to describe a sense of sick feelings, that we said it's like you accidentally ate a fly. This story gave me precisely that feeling. The ending, of course, it was a huge tornado that absolutely swiped everything away. And the loneliness sank into the pages. I think that was the hardest to read. And I still kind of felt nauseous till now, years after I read this story. There was a paragraph in this story that was quoted as the ultimate theme of McCullers' work about love and loneliness. It reads, "Often the beloved is only a stimulus for all the stored up love, which was laying quiet within the lover for a long time. And somehow every lover knows this. He feels in his soul that his love is a solitary thing. He must house his love within himself as best he can. He must create for himself a whole new inward world, a world intense and strange, complete in himself." Somehow her work was like a gun that pointed into my heart, because she described a feeling that I was trying to catch or trying to describe myself, that the state of loving someone, and she described it in a very poetic way. And as a lot of other good writers do, a lot of short stories do, McCullers left some plots unanswered in his story. She made it feel like these people do crazy things for no reason at all. She didn't give you an explanation. She didn't give any clue. She gave some clues, but not all of them. She didn't give answers about why these two men hurt the woman. Why did they do those horrible things? She didn't give a precise explanation, which make the stories, it tastes more like life. You know, sometimes life hit you without any reasons. You cannot find any explanations for things that happen to you or to your friends or to others. And her stories felt precisely like that. Also, because she was an alcoholic, she also wrote about how alcohol could affect one's family life in very sharp and unsettling details. In a short story called A Domestic Dilemma, she wrote in details about how a drunk mother could step-by-step destroy her families and hurt her kids. Her stories were volcanoes buried under the peaceful, quiet town life. Was something that so disturbing, that has destructive power, that can turn one's life upside down. We have talked about several short story collections in this channel in previous videos. I think her work hit differently because I think her stories were sad, fundamentally. It was like she didn't know how to love, how to communicate with this world. She didn't even know what she was looking for. And she was speaking a language that no one could understand. That's why she wrote these stories, as a way to call for attention and to express herself, to make people aware that she exists. She was like, "Hi, I'm here. Can someone come and love me? Can someone come and listen to me?" Everyone was craving for love and understanding, but in her mind, in her world, love was like a ghost that none of her characters managed to catch or even glimpse. Her biography stated that although she was married to a man, McCullers spent all her life loving and chasing women. I think the blurry sexual identity also reflected in her work, because some of her protagonists, the female characters, they felt stuck. They were lost, as if they were desiring something they couldn't name. They want something, but they didn't know what they want. But that was also one of the reasons why her work was so timelessly intriguing. Also, it is a short book, so you can finish it in a heartbeat. It was not difficult to read. It was not difficult to understand at all. It has been I think 3 years since I've read it. The unsettling feeling still lingers in my mind right now. And I thought, since we are not recording something very formal and long today, I should talk about this book. I have never... usually when I read some books that I really love or really hate, I really like to share it with my friends, but not this book. I have never told a soul about this book and how it made me feel. Because somehow it felt like this book feels like a private reading. Something that you were not gonna share during your Saturday dinner with your friends, because it was the feelings, the lost, the craving for love, the fear of loneliness. It was all personal, and you try to keep it down here to yourself. But I think today might be a good time to talk about this book. I love this book. I think she was a wonderful writer. Maybe that those level kind of talent was a curse and a bless, because obviously she spent all her life paying for this type of talents. But I still think it was a great book, and I think you should read it. Just don't read it when you were having a high fever or when you were feeling horrible, because it won't make you feel better. But you should read it because some stories or sentences in this book might make you realize that, the ultimate dilemma of a human being was craving for understanding and acceptance and communication, but maybe that's something we would never get. And that's all for today's super short video. So short that I didn't even bring my camera. I used my phone to record this. Before we go, I'd like to share my bedside story books collection that I have to say, I recently read some books that they were so famous and a lot of people loved them. They were absolute classic, but I hate. I don't know how to say it. I just don't enjoy it, and I quit 2 books about 2/3 away. I'm sure they were great books, but I can't read a fucking single sentence anymore. I hate it. I hate the stories so much. Maybe I should do a video about them, but I'm so sorry, because maybe I'm not educated enough or smart enough to understand them. I hate them. And things I'm reading now, Dostoevsky, a book that somehow made my my headache worse. Selected Stories of Maupassant. I got this in a bookstore called Sisyphus. Interesting. I love it. I've read quite a few pieces of his. I didn't remember until I opened this book again. Gustav Flaubert, Education Sentimental. Is it what they call it? It was so thick, and I read his. Is it? He has a story. He has a book called 3 Stories. I read it. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how to. There are some books that you have read, you might enjoy it or you might not enjoy it. Sometimes you didn't even understand it, and you close the book. You thought, oh shit. Yes, I finished the book, but I have absolutely no idea what to say if I have to make a video about this book. That book gave me that kind of impression. And a magazine. Is it a magazine? I think it is. New Philosopher. I got this edition about seeking love. I got this from a bookstore on a date, actually. I thought it was like a fit theme, a book to buy. And I recently got the complete short story collection from Zweig. Is it Zweig? Stefan Zweig? I need to Google how to say his name in English. I love him. I think he might be one of my favorite writers of all time. He amazed you. How can a human being write in such a perfectly detailed way? I wanted to know what's going on in her mind. Autobiography from Nietzsche. I didn't enjoy reading it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm dumb. I think I only understand like not even 30% of it. These 3 books, I'm not sure. Okay, this Lights in August, I bought it because Garcia Marquez said in his autobiography that was his favorite book. Out of curiosity, I bought it. I haven't read it yet. I finished As I Lay Dying. I cannot say I particularly enjoyed reading that. It was a great book, but again, maybe I'm dumb because I didn't really understand them. The Big Questions, a short introduction to philosophy. A great, great, great book. I think everyone should read. Sometimes I cannot help thinking about, when I was writing home, sometimes I cannot help thinking about those pointless big questions, like what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of death? Why do we do what we do? And is life all about suffering? And this book gave me a very clear, easy to understand introduction towards philosophy that I think anyone who is interested in philosophy should read, because it writes in a very simple and storytelling way, and it wasn't hard at all, but it was very thought-provoking. And I love it, even though I only finished 2 chapters. And then the stories of Nabokov. I didn't even remember why I bought this book. Maybe it was just curious. I love it so far because I only read like 5 stories in it, and it comes in 2 volumes. This is volume 1. And that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoy it-ish somehow. Okay, thank you for spending time with me and listening to my crazy words this week. See you next week. Bye.